This is a deeply unsettling story. It's about a vibrant young girl, a friendship, and a digital world full of dark obsessions that eventually spilled over into horrifying, real-world violence. We're going to break down the tragic murder of Brianna Ghey. This right here is the simple, chilling fact at the heart of it all. What was supposed to be just a normal Saturday afternoon meeting up with friends ended in a brutal, meticulously planned murder.
So, the huge question is, how does this even happen? To get our heads around it, we really need to look at three things: who Brianna was, who her killers were, and the digital trail of messages that exposed their entire, horrifying plan.
Before we get into the details of the crime, it is so important that we talk about who Brianna was, her life, her story. That deserves to be told first.
Brianna was, by all accounts, a bright and sometimes shy kid. Just like any other 16-year-old, you know? She was figuring out school, friendships, and her own identity in a town in the north of England.
And like so many teens, she found a place to really be herself online. On TikTok, you could see her confidence and her charm just shine. She was sharing little bits of her life, building a community, and really finding her voice.
But while Brianna was building this positive community for herself online, her killers were living in a very, very different digital world. And the contrast between them is, well, it's just staggering.
And this just lays it out so clearly. You had two totally different realities existing side by side. On one hand, Brianna's world, friendships, school, community, a pretty normal teenage life. And then you have the world of Scarlett Jenkinson and Eddie Ratcliffe. It was a shared digital obsession with violence, torture, and serial killers. It got so bad that they even created a kill list of potential victims, and Brianna's name was on it.
This is a direct quote. It was recovered from Scarlett Jenkinson's phone. "I find the idea of murder exciting. It reveals this horrifying clarity. This isn't just some dark fantasy. It's a mindset totally detached from empathy, one that sees murder as thrilling."
And you have to understand, this was not some impulsive act of violence, not even close. The digital messages showed a plan that was detailed, rehearsed, and just horrifyingly meticulous. The plan actually started with them trying to poison Brianna, hoping it would just look like a suicide. When that failed, they escalated. Eddie Ratcliffe went and bought a hunting knife, and Scarlett Jenkinson, who the judge later called the driving force, she actually wrote down a physical, handwritten plan for the murder. It even included a code word to start the attack. The last step was the lure, just getting Brianna to a secluded spot where they could carry it all out.
All of that digital planning, all that preparation, it all came to a head on that Saturday afternoon in February.
This was the location they'd picked out. It's a quiet park, follows an old railway line, a place where they believed they wouldn't be disturbed. 28. That's the number of times Brianna Ghey was stabbed. In her head, her neck, her back, and her chest. The court called the attack exceptionally brutal, and that level of violence, it speaks directly to the sadism the judge would later name as a motive. The killers ran from the scene, but they couldn't just erase their digital footprints, and it was that trail that led investigators right to them.
So, while the physical evidence was obviously important, the prosecution's case was overwhelmingly built on digital proof. Investigators recovered thousands of messages that just laid bare the killer's fantasies, their planning, their motives. It left absolutely no doubt about their guilt.
And in all those messages was this quote from Eddie Ratcliffe: "It's just a chillingly cruel and dehumanizing thing to say." This message ended up being crucial evidence that proved the attack was motivated, at least in part, by transphobic hostility.
So, justice unfolded over about a year. The murder happened in February. By December, after a trial that laid out that mountain of digital evidence, the jury came back with a unanimous guilty verdict. Then, almost exactly a year after her death, in a pretty big legal decision, the judge lifted the killer's anonymity, and they were sentenced to life.
In the wake of such a senseless tragedy, Brianna's family has fought incredibly hard to create a legacy of positive change.
So Jenkinson received a minimum sentence of 22 years, and Ratcliffe got a minimum of 20. The judge was crystal clear. The motives were sadism and transphobia. But the story doesn't end there. Brianna's mother, Esther Ghey, has channeled her grief into this really powerful advocacy. She's now campaigning for stronger online safety laws and for child-safe phones, trying to stop the kind of dark online content that fueled her daughter's killers from reaching other kids. And that leaves us with this final, really crucial question.
Brianna's murder is such a stark reminder that what happens in the digital world can have profound and sometimes absolutely devastating consequences in the real world. It forces all of us to ask, what is our responsibility as a society to make sure that online spaces are safe, and that hate and sadism are not just allowed to fester and grow into real-world violence?